Well, good afternoon, financial professionals and advisors. Today is Wednesday, June 30th, the last day of June. And our guest today is Tiffany Markarian, Managing Director and Founder of Advantus Marketing. I've worked with Tiffany for what's got to be close to 3 or 4 years now. Yeah. And become a dear friend, a great mentor and guider in this industry. And she is our guest today. But before we hand it over to her, we of course have our national days today. It is a National Meteor Watch Day. So when the sun finally sets, cast your eyes to the sky and see what you can see. It's National Outfit of the Day today, so enjoy that. And then it is Social Media Day. So as a reminder, I guess you're all here, so you don't need to watch the replay. But if you ever miss a brew, we do have it on social media, both our YouTube page and our website. So you can find past brews there. So with that, I will hand it over to you, Tiffany.
Thank you so much to you, to Dan, to Danielle, the whole team. It's really great to be with all of you. And I see so many people joining in. Welcome to you all. Today's brew, I'm thrilled to be able to present as a marketing strategist working solely with financial professionals. What are the 4 marketing strategies that all advisors or professionals should be considering? The one thing I'm going to say is the majority of what I'm going to talk about does not cost anything. It's not a gimmick, it's not a tool, it's not some magic arrow that's going to hit the target, but what it is going to do is change the way you structure some things in your practice and position things to get more visibility. Second, and a critical outcome is that it allows you to increase advocacy from your existing clients, which in turn, in this acquisition war that we're in right now for new clients, allows them to advocate for you. And then lastly, it's going to help you better articulate your value so that you gain a more powerful presence in your local marketplace, wherever you sit. Does not matter if you are fee-only advisor, property and casualty, traditional career professional. This applies to everyone, and it speaks directly from the clients that you're working with and the markets that you want to be able to become more visible in. So now that we're talking about 4 marketing strategies, let's tackle the first one. And it's get your messaging straight. This is something that when I'm brought in to help either get more leverage for financial professionals that I work with, or they're trying to figure out why they're not getting results, we always start here. When I say get your messaging straight, what I really mean is the value that you're trying to articulate. Most advisors or professionals aren't doing it the correct way. So unfortunately, there's a reason why I have not started with digital marketing or social media or campaigns or client reviews, anything like that. Those are tactical. Getting your value and your messaging straight affects all of this. So what do I mean? Most professionals speak in terms of using the P's to articulate their value. By the P's, I mean, they fall in love with their process and everything that they say, whether it's with prospective clients or trying to make sure they retain existing clients, they talk about their process. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't leave this by saying, whoa, my process is my value. And this woman, Tiffany, is saying this should not be communicated. Of course it should be. I'm saying don't lead with it, because if we lead with our process, it's all about us. It's not about the client. Same thing goes for our platforms. We try to talk about what's unique about our proprietary platform and our process and how this affects performance and our professionalism and our pricing. If you're a fee-only advisor, the biggest mistake I see there is that we talk about we're fee-only. The client pays the fee. It's best interest. The minute you start talking fee-only as your lead messaging and go too deep with it, the client's immediately going to ask, what's the fee? And now you've fallen down a rabbit hole and it's very hard to come back. Let me explain to you what value means in just a moment. Some of us talk about our products. We talk about premiums and placement, or we talk about our people and our culture. All of these will probably come up in conversation. All I'm saying is let's not lead with it because it's all about us. And prospective clients and existing clients, make no doubt, they have been scrutinizing value. If they are a prospective client, they're scrutinizing the value of the firm that they might be leaving. If they're one of your existing clients, then beware, people have had a lot of time to think during this pandemic. They're thinking about who is there, am I getting value more than ever? So the goal here when we get our messaging straight is actually to speak in outcomes, not the P's. What are outcomes? Outcomes are the bottom line that someone would benefit, or the emotional statements that clients will use. Clients do not talk in terms of jargon. Frankly, they're sick of the jargon, and it comes off as a pitch. So when you talk process platforms, it's really coming out as please, please, please do business with me. It's convincing people as opposed to creating curiosity. So when you speak in outcomes, let me give you a good example. You might talk about your reviews with clients. Well, the outcome is you never want your client to feel alone in their financial planning or whatever discipline that you work in. If you're talking about the fact that as a property and casualty firm, then your goal is to be risk management, risk control, help them managing all that risk. But at the end, it's helping them protect what they value most and be able to preserve legacies. What else could it mean? If you're talking about investment management and you talk about our modern portfolio theory or diversification, we look at your risk tolerance, we look at your time horizon, we look at tax harvesting, all of that is jargon. What you're really trying to say is we keep an eye on your investment management. We keep an eye on all of your assets. We keep an eye on things so that one, you're able to focus on other things in life, and two, that you're able to accomplish the intentions you have for yourself. Those are outcomes. So if you meet someone for the first time or you're doing a review with someone in person post-pandemic, the things that you say are, I'm so glad that we were able to have this conversation, because it really is time for us to focus on what have we been building or what are you looking to build. Our goal has always been to help you gain more comfort with your financial security. I know your family legacy is important. We want to make sure that when that time comes, we can transfer everything you want to your heirs in an orderly fashion and the way that you want it to. Our goal is to help you focus on things and be another set of eyes and manage things on your behalf, so that you stay a step ahead, not a step behind. Our goal is to be there for you. At this point, what questions do you have of us? What are 3 things that you've been thinking about that we can help you with? What I did there is I did not talk about process. I did not talk about pricing. I did not talk about performance. I did not talk about jargon. I spoke in outcomes, because merchandisers are the people who focus on product or their process. Relationship managers are the people who focus on outcomes. What you could say to a new prospective client, if they ask you what makes you different, that's a trap, by the way. Yes, you're going to answer the question, but not in the way they think you're going to. When someone's asking what makes you different, they've already got a checklist in their head. And the minute you start talking about process, platforms, performance, they're going click, 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 click. They already have a checklist thinking you're going to try to sell them. But if you start saying, well, instead of what makes you different, let me tell you what my clients say makes us distinct, is that we focus on their financial security. We help them stay ahead instead of running behind. We help take on the burden of managing things in their life, including all the activities and all the secondary factors that go into planning, so they can focus on other things in life. We help them gain more comfort with their security. But before we get to all that, let's talk about the 3 things that are important to you. Lead with outcomes. And by the way, if we lead with outcomes, that's significantly going to improve our digital marketing, because outcomes are going to create more curiosity. Jargon or long emails in digital marketing is going to turn people off. The second thing that all advisors and professionals should be focusing on is niche market analysis. And I don't just mean, all right, what markets do we want to be in? Let's pick something. What I'm talking about here is which clients do we want to replicate? And by doing that, that allows us to figure out who are the clients that we've maybe had multiple successes with. Who would be our ideal client? A market is not people, products, performance, platforms. Markets are actual organizations, groups, clubs, associations where people network and communicate. If we crack into a niche market, whether it is a digital forum, a meetup group, a professional association, a golf club, a fishing club, where people network and communicate, that's your niche market. And we have to figure out our existing clients or our existing prospects, or if you're brand new to the business, the people who are close in your circle that you'd like to make clients, where do they network and communicate? You can ask them. Now that restrictions are lifting, the pandemic is starting to open back up. What are the groups, clubs, associations, recreational activities, special interests you're looking forward to getting back to? And if we figure out where they network and communicate, then we can figure out how do we replicate those clients. Niche marketing, as opposed to any other type of marketing, allows you to pick and choose where's our profitability, where's the most efficient way to drive profitability. Too many people think, let's just pump out social media content and hope someone catches it and becomes a client. Hope is not a plan. But if we get our value straight, if we understand the outcomes that are important to different niche markets, we figure out which ones we have an affinity for. It meets 6 to 12 times a year. It's economically viable. It's something that I might even be interested in getting activated in or becoming a resource partner. Then that allows us to get more velocity and get very specific with the outcomes that we create. Now, the third thing is elevating your client experience. Even if you're new to the business, no matter what discipline you're in, figure out how do we elevate the client experience. Well, one, most professionals are leaning on the P's for their value. If we get very clear to speak in outcomes, that's automatically a new experience for most people, particularly prospective clients. Clients today, and I'm going to give you 2021 as an example, are valuing the client experience, meaning how they feel working with you, what they've observed from onboarding to working with your staff, the home office, reviews, doing what you say you'll do. That's 80% of how they describe value. Years ago, it was about 40%. So that's a little scary. And I know Brendan and Dan, this is something that you focused on in your own firm, that emotional value and being taken care of, that is what they're attributing to a positive experience. And now it's 80% of the value for financial services. So this is about being attentive to a client's comfort at every stage in the experience with you and your team. The best way to do this is know the things about your clients that others aren't bothering or are not able to figure out. If you happen to work, say, in your client base or in your natural market, and 6 of them are physicians, at the end of every March, Brendan, you've been talking about National Appreciation Days. At the end of March is National Doctor Day. In May, it's Nurses and Teachers. In November, it's Veterans. Additionally, in March, it's Hygienist Day and Dentist Day. You can also figure out, if you work with a lot of business owners, when was the month that they started their business. And every February or every July, whenever their anniversary comes up, congratulations for another successful year in business. July 4th is right around the corner, sending an apple pie to our best A's or A+ clients when we know they're going to be having barbecues. On Mother's Day, sending them a little 15-second video. Thinking of you today, thanks for taking care of everyone in your life. So glad they're celebrating with you. And make sure you send that video between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. when you know they're probably going to have brunch with their families. If you have a lot of widows or single mothers, reaching out to them on Valentine's Day or sending flowers. All these things elevates the experience and gets you talked about. You're probably going to say, well, the experience is about their performance, the performance of their insurance, the performance of their investments. Yes, it is. But taking care of them as a person and personalizing and humanizing that experience is what's going to get you talked about. Now, it's tough to do this for all clients. You can certainly do it for your A clients to start with. And some of you might say, well, I do Thanksgiving cards, or I do holiday cards, or I do birthday cards. Well, that's great. Make sure you're actually including a note and not just signing it, because they're going to say, is that the best that you can do? I actually like to try to be more distinct and send things like New Year's cards. And then that way, I'm going to be the first thing that they see come 2022. So this appreciation and cultivation makes your marketing a lot easier. If you're able to ask your clients, and anyone who's interested, I could give you a tool or a document that you can use during client reviews that asks these questions about their pets, about their networks and clubs that they belong to. We're happy to send this out to you. But if we figure out this information and put it into our CRM, once we start populating this, we're going to realize maybe we have a lot of clients who love to garden, a lot of clients who love to fish or hunt or whatever their special interests are. It makes client appreciation much easier. Well, some of you might say, well, I do an economic summit every year, or I do virtual meetings with different fund companies or different carriers on State of the Union. That's client education. That's not client appreciation. So I would make a difference. Appreciation is personalizing the experience and doing peculiar things that are the unexpected. Philanthropy, life inside the office, all the things that can elevate the experience will create a win for you. Remember, not once have I mentioned doing social media. Not once have I mentioned doing digital marketing. That's passive. Doing these things, getting your value and speaking in outcomes, understanding the niche and what's important to different clients at different stages of life, and elevating the client and prospect experience is what gets you talked about. And being talked about is what drives more advocacy. When I was head of a wealth management firm, we tripled our A client referrals in 3 years, which tripled our productivity and our profitability. Why? We focused on personalizing and humanizing the experience. We weren't just digital blasting out there for everyone. The fourth thing that I wanted to talk about, and this is whatever discipline you happen to be focusing on in your specific practice, it's creating more wins in your planning process. What does that mean? Well, if you're in a property and casualty firm, for instance, I know this has been a firestorm for you the last year because COVID has created a lot of trauma, and a lot of the carriers may not have considered pandemics a covered loss. So you've got business interruption insurance, directors and officers insurance, workman's comp issues. Was that covered? So you've been scrambling. At the same time, clients are worried about their personal health, their disability, their life insurance, their long-term care. Creating more wins doesn't mean you have to do it, but you could partner with like an E4 Insurance Services to bring more of those personal lines and create more wins while you're trying to manage some of the pandemics. Additionally, the pandemics created a lot more opportunities for cyber and security insurance. Over the years, we've seen driverless automobiles and so forth. Uber and Lyft creates more commercial lines. You can then add more personal lines as an option. If you're a wealth manager, perhaps you work with your clients, but maybe you could help them fill out the FAFSA form for college planning when their kids become of age. That's a huge help. It takes a lot of education and burden off your clients. Maybe you do family fire drills. You all want to get to the next generation and do multi-generational planning. Well, imagine if you brought in and did a fire drill. If something were to happen to your parents, here's where everything rests. Here's the key contacts. It shows that you're bringing more value than just investment management or financial planning, etc. All of these things creates more wins. And many of you may be focused on higher net worth, $1 million plus, 2 million plus, 500,000, whatever that is. But if you create a page on your site and a specific model for clients' children that shows that you're helping the emerging affluent, the emerging professionals with things like basic understanding, basic action planning. Most younger clients don't know what their goals are, but they know they want to make better decisions. Perhaps you have a specific offering for those clients to create more wins. So these 4 things that I wanted to bring to you, none of them are tactics, none of them are gimmicks, none of them require you to take on and learn a new program. It allows you to get better connected with your clients and prospective clients. And I will tell you, particularly the affluent, people are looking for new experiences. It's why the pandemic sparked some creativity and people started picking up barbecue or rebuilding their guitar, or getting into gardening or sourdough starter for bread. People want new experiences. And when they leave one firm for another, believe you me, there's a lot of money in motion right now and a lot of prospects in motion because they realize people were not communicating with them or bringing the value that they expected. This is your time to win that acquisition war. So if you get your value correct, you focus in on the different niches, you populate your CRM, which, by the way, CRM meaning client relationship management software, it's now become the CXM, the client experience management. If we can start populating the personal aspects of our clients and working with that to elevate the client experience and create more wins, we've got a model here that's going to drive advocacy. And rather than you asking a client, who else should I be speaking with to get more referrals? That puts clients in a very uncomfortable position. They never want to be qualifying suspects or prospects for you, but they will talk about their network. They will talk about when their advisor recognized them in unique ways. They'll talk about if you sent a cake to their office for their 10-year business anniversary. They'll talk about you if you sent a card for National Doctors Day, or you sent a batch of pizza to a school system for National Teachers Day. All of these things are what help you get a stronger position in the marketplace and makes it more comfortable for clients to talk about you. So I am more than happy to address any questions, Brendan and Danielle and Dan, if anyone has them. I'm here for all of you.
Thank you, Tiffany. I did get a couple private messaged questions. So
okay, fire away.
I will start with the first one. So we have an advisor spotlight that we do semi-regularly, where we have, one of our E4 advisors talk about what makes them successful.
Mm-hmm.
A few weeks ago, we had Chris Henderson on, and his comment on his marketing was that he stays away from the fluff, and he says, "I tell people I sell life insurance and disability." The question was, what is your thoughts on that?
Well, no one wants to be sold anything, right? That's where you start getting into merchandising. What you can say is, I provide recommendations for clients on life insurance, disability insurance. So one, they can protect what's important to them, their family, the things that they care about, the assets that they've worked so hard to build.
Perfect.
And I get the factor of not wanting to have fluff, but remember, that's talking about product, that's talking about selling. We want to speak in outcomes. So what my clients make us say distinct is not only do I provide life insurance and disability insurance, but what that allows them to do is sleep better at night, have more comfort with their security. They know they're protecting what they love and what they value most.
Makes perfect sense.
Thanks for that question, Chris. I think that's going to help a lot of people.
Another, and this is a personal question, but something that we've battled with internally, and we try to deliver a top level experience for our advisors. That being said, we're dealing with insurance companies who, with the pandemic, with staffing shortages, with everything else, even if we try to manage expectations, there's limits to what we can do working with insurance companies. And, we feel, sometimes on the, the team feels depressed that we're not, creating a perfect experience. I mean, we're trying to do what we can, but we're still dealing with insurance companies. I'm just curious on that, your thoughts.
Well, first of all, I would say this. I don't know if anyone's escaped that challenge, right? They're not just picking on E4 insurance, or everybody's dealing with that. I think the best thing that you can do, particularly if you're an advisor who wants to bring insurance into the fold, but it's not your core expertise, that's hard enough as it is, even if it is your core expertise. The best thing that you can do is make people aware and set expectations. Yes, it may have been different a year ago, a year and a half ago, pre-pandemic. I'd argue in some cases, some companies, this has been a problem for a while, right? But if we can let them know, here's the timeline. If the advisor or that professional knows the timeline, then they're not going to have that uncomfortable call from the client. Well, where is everything? The best thing that you can do is be honest and upfront what's happening in the industry, why it's happening. Now, we are here, we are pushing every day on your behalf, but the timeline may look this long. Be honest, but set expectations up front. I know that's hard to hear. We all want to serve right now. We can't change when we're not in control of the bus, but we can let them know the expectation of what you're doing on their behalf to expedite it. And if some of it is happening, even in this great environment that we now have with accelerated underwriting, et cetera, what are the things that we can do with the client to maybe speed some things up, or taking advantage of digital and getting off the paper that might speed it up? But just set the timeline correctly up front.
Perfect. That concludes the questions that I have, and anybody else have questions, feel free to unmute yourself and ask, or shoot a quick chat. Otherwise, we will do our standard drawing. Tiffany, can you pick a number between 1 and 27?
I'm going to pick 27.
All right. The winner is Maria Wilson. So, Maria, you'll have a gift card and CE voucher coming your way. Thank you for attending. And thank you everyone else for attending. Have a great 4th of July, America's birthday. Celebrate with your family and friends. Be safe. And next time we have Dan Truhl, Director of Training at Lift Consulting, talking about uncovering reasons to do business. So take care. Thank you again, Tiffany, and we'll see you all in a week.
My pleasure. Thanks everyone for joining. Good to spend time with you.
Thanks, Tiffany.
My pleasure.